After traveling from Costa Rica for 21 hours and 51 minutes, we arrived at our hotel in Barcelona.
Alright, checked into our hotel. Now we're going to walk down La Rambla all the way down to the sea. See what we find along the way. So I'm sleep deprived. This is actually the best state to do some filming in because I can just talk nonsense. Check it out. We are heading down La Rambla all the way down to the sea. Maybe catch sunset, or I just want to see it before we go to bed tonight. I think it will be a very relaxing experience to go see the Mediterranean, and maybe we'll find some cool stuff on the way. There's so many ice cream shops, which is Adriana's favorite thing in the entire world. She didn't want one.
I'm not healthy.
You're not healthy? Don't say that. You're completely healthy. I was telling Adriana, we gotta take a lot of pictures. And she's like, yeah, when we get to like a destination, because right now this road, there's nothing special about it. I was like, this is literally one of the most famous walkways in the entire world. She's like, yeah, there's nothing special about it. You know, she lives that life. Cuando está vestido, más tarde quizás.
Claro.
Sí.
¿Qué es eso? Huh?
What is that, baby? That's him. Wow, look at these colors.
As we reached the end of La Rambla, Adriana was fascinated by the Christopher Columbus Monument. It was completed in 1888 for the Universal Exposition of Barcelona to honor his first voyage to the Americas. Although he was born in the Republic of Genoa in 1451, the monument is a reminder that Christopher Columbus reported Queen Isabella I and King Ferdinand V in Barcelona after his first trip to the New World. The statue was sculpted by Rafael Ache and is intended to portray Columbus pointing towards the New World with his right hand and carrying a scroll in his left. In reality, the statue points south-southeast, more southward than the nearby Rambla del Mar, and almost perfectly in line with the direction of La Rambla. So in reality, it is pointing somewhere near the city of Constantine in Algeria. Seated against the buttresses are four figures that represent four realms of Spain, the Principality of Catalonia and the kingdoms of León, Aragon, and Castile. More on the Crown of Aragon, Castile, and the Principality of Catalonia in upcoming videos, as I dive deeper into the fascinating yet tumultuous history of the Mediterranean. Now, for all the tragedies that unfolded as a consequence of this man's, quote, discovery, end quote, of the New World, the conquistadores of this era, though oftentimes depicted as refined gentlemen, were nothing short of men of steel, who endured the hardships of conquest alongside their men and are a testament to the human spirit. ever eager to conquer this amazing planet we inhabit. I say discovery tongue-in-cheek, as clearly the Americas were inhabited, and there's plenty of evidence for transatlantic voyages of many cultures dating into the late Pleistocene. For all intents and purposes, it was, however, a discovery for these late medieval, early Renaissance explorers. After exploring the Columbus Monument, Adriana proceeded to gather her bearings as to where the hell in the world we were standing.
Ahí estamos mirando hacia Cerdeña, ¿verdad?
She's not wrong, by the way. She was in fact pointing towards the island of Sardinia. We proceeded to cross the street onto the boardwalk lining the harbor. And might I comment on the outstanding mullet that was beginning to form on my head. The cool spring sea breeze was a welcome sensation after finally reaching this familiar and pleasant harbor after one day's travel.
So when I was a little kid, my parents had a sailboat in the Mediterranean, and we actually spent a year and a half cruising a lot of the Mediterranean, and a month or two, I think, of that time was spent right here in Barcelona. So this is actually like my third, fourth, or fifth time here. I'm not exactly sure, but I have very fond memories of this place as a kid. In fact, when the boat was docked, there was a man who would come and feed the pigeons every day. His name was Jose. He was in a wheelchair, and he'd bring me, or he'd always have with him these cookies, I remember, and he'd share the cookies with me. And I know it sounds weird, but my parents were there. He talked to my parents. He was just a really nice guy. And I came here 2018, and I went looking for him and I couldn't find him. Who knows, maybe we'll run into him today. Okay.
No sé quién.
Alright, picture time. That kind couple over there, we just asked for a selfie, and while I was approaching them, I heard like a weird language. I was like, is that Greek you're speaking? They're like, no, Italian. I was like, oh, that's weird, because like, you know, my grandfather was from Sardinia. I should have recognized it. And she's like, yeah, that was Sardinian. So Sardinian is like a whole nother language, basically. And yeah, it's crazy. Look it up. It sounds like weird. And so I was like, oh, no way. Small world, I guess. Yeah, it is the Mediterranean. It's like right there. But cool little story.
Finally, we made it to the harbor, and every step I took was a trip deeper down memory lane.
Check out this mellow ass seagull. It's just chilling. So, baby, what are your first impressions of Barcelona?
It's nice, right?
It's weird. I feel weird too, trust me. That's what happens when you travel for 36 hours straight.
Kinda reminds me to Puerto Madero.
Puerto Madero, yeah, very similar. Let's go this way. Yeah?
More conspiracy theory.
There are quite a few lines in the sky, I'm not gonna lie.
Now, what those are made out of, it's up to you to decide.
When we reached the end of the Rambla del Mar, we stepped off the boardwalk by the Maremagnum Mall. That being said, we did not come all the way to Barcelona to go window shopping. We glanced over the harbor and the vistas were just as I had remembered them from my childhood, and of course since my last visit to this most pleasant of cities in 2018. We proceeded to circle Port Vell in its entirety. The restaurants were certainly tempting, though no doubt that this was tourist central.
So the pizza looks good here. At least the picture of it did. This is El Raco.
The plan was to go onward to La Barceloneta Beach. I have to admit, we got a little lost as we got to the Aquarium, another childhood favorite of mine, as I recall there being a direct access to La Barceloneta from the far side of the port, which was not the case, as you have to go all the way around to the mainland and then take a right.
Walking like this, you're so was I was like
The sun setting behind the Gothic Quarter was pleasant, as well as the adjacent Plaza del Ictineo, with its modern architecture, trees, and dogs playing in the green zone.
See?
Ay, qué lindo también ese. Mira.
Having now encircled the marina, our condition quickly began to deteriorate. After all, we had been zipping through time zones for what seemed like an eternity, so now we decided to call it a day and head back toward La Rambla.
Okay, so basically what we did is we came from up there, down there where the port begins, went all the way around, and then circled back, just like the White House press secretary would tell you to do, to reach this port again with these wonderful palm trees. And now we are going to make our way slowly back to our hotel. Yeah. And maybe get some pizza. Adriana's hungry, I'm hungry too. It's time we get some food. Long overdue.
The last rays of sun peeking through the palm trees made for an idyllic scenery as we passed alongside the docked sailboats, such as the Far Barcelona, which I am about to show, a Norwegian yacht built in 1874. It is essentially a two-masted schooner, which reminded me of the sailboat my father acquired in Marseille after a 1.5-year cruise around the Mediterranean, which I mentioned earlier, and subsequently sailed across the Atlantic Ocean, through the Panama Canal, and up to Costa Rica. Yeah, he's an absolute
Legend.
and I'd bet my money on him over Columbus any day of the week. I read that in recent years, the Far Barcelona joined the Museu Marítim de Barcelona alongside the Santa Eulália Pailebote, the flagship of the Maritime Museum. Despite being on the edge of collapsing, considering our last meal, which consisted of muffins, was a good 10 hours in the past, Adriana couldn't help herself but to take one last closer look at the inscriptions on the base of the Columbus monument. We did indeed find the names Queen Isabella I and King Ferdinand V, but she kept insisting on there being more occult symbology etched in the landmark. We had time, since hungry wasn't exactly the right word to describe how we felt, since at this stage we were feeling ethereal. I should also clarify, Adriana wasn't impressed with Columbus himself, but rather with the hidden story that might be found engraved in the monument. Despite me having given you the mainstream story earlier in the video, she is not wrong in her thinking, as it may well be possible that Columbus may have been a Jewish man who left Spain on the last day of the deadline of the expulsion of the Jews from Spain via the Alhambra Decree. He may well have been a converso, a Jew who converted to Catholicism, or a marrano, who practiced his faith in secrecy. Disclaimer for YouTube. I linked an article by a, quote, sanctioned, end quote, news source, CNN, which states the possibilities I just mentioned. Other, more obscure possibilities have been explored that he may have been a Templar, in which case he may have known exactly where he was sailing, but I will just leave links in the description for you as the viewer to make up your own mind. That being said, all versions of the story are fascinating and a rich part of Barcelona's history for more than half a millennium.
Portus Maris et Terra Custodia.
Now I know some of you will not approve, but we made our way to the closest pizza place.
Sector Naval de Catalunya.
Tapas are great, but they are for relaxed gatherings. Ours was a life or death situation.
So check it out, we got like a
Freaking
16-inch pizza. It's huge. Ooh, good crispy crust. Puglia In Tavola, that was the pizza place down this little side road which will lead to La Rambla. You got all these other little shops here. Oh, it's a Danish supermarket. Here you got hot dogs. One of the ones that really caught my eye was this Middle Eastern, well I guess you'd call it like a, well, what would you call that? I guess like a shawarma type deal. So we are here at Gelateria Artesanal because Adriana loves ice cream and she especially loves dulce de leche ice cream. So whenever she finds some that is specifically, or that specifically has dulce de leche ice cream, as is the case here, right there, then she always gets some. Okay, so this ice cream right here was €4.40. Well worth it, right? Alright, let me try a bite.
Every like that this video gets, I will buy Adriana an ice cream. So please consider doing so if indeed you enjoyed it, because Adriana really likes ice cream, and these videos take a lot of work. I appreciate you all for watching, and there's more to come from Europe.
Okay, so we are back at our hotel right in front of the Plaza Catalunya, and I'm gonna go pass out. See you later.